a Noite, com rock e filosofia. Comigo, Thiago Bianchi, no YouTube da Kiss FM.
Acho que o Thiago tá sem áudio aqui, hein? Vocês estão me ouvindo aí, galera? Thiago está sem áudio. Ti, você está me ouvindo? O áudio não tá indo. Vamos começar de novo. Então vocês estão me ouvindo, certo? Me falem aí se vocês estão me ouvindo. Se estiverem me ouvindo, fala que dá joinha aí, manda que sim. Aí o Thiago vai entrar daqui a pouco. Ele reentra. Então agora o programa é meu, cara. Agora eu tomei as rédeas aqui do programa. Vou falar que nem o Thiago agora. Falar do Boeing, do não sei o que lá. E agora o Thiago agora, eu vou chamar o Thiago, cara, nosso produtor de núcleo. O Thiago agora é meu produtor de núcleo. Eu fui promovido agora, sou chefe do Thiago. E ele que é meu produtor de núcleo. Então vem cá, meu louro José, Thiago Bianchi.
Eu já tô quase louro. Você me ouve agora? Tá valendo aí?
Agora sim.
Ok, então sem mais delongas, galera, boa noite com Rock e Filosofia. Muito obrigado pela presença de todos. Se não tiver um probleminha técnico, não é ao vivo, né, cara? Isso não é importante. É muito importante para todos verem que estamos aqui ao vivo. E hoje uma noite muito especial. Eu devo admitir que eu estou nervoso, cara, porque vamos entrevistar duas lendas, né, meu? Dois caras que fazem parte aí do folclore, da história e que ajudaram a moldar a história do heavy metal mundial, né? Não só brazuca, quiçá brazuca, mas mundial. E então, assim, sem maiores delongas, deixa eu começar logo, já começamos atrasado. Bom, antes de mais nada, agradecer ao Paul Martins e ao Evaldo Boss, que são os nossos padrinhos aí de audiência, de emissora, que nos colocam aqui no controle desse Boeing gigantesco, né? Que é o YouTube da Kiss FM. Muito obrigado, um beijo no coração dos dois e de toda a nossa audiência aí, o pessoal que tem acompanhado sempre desde o começo as nossas pataquadas aqui. Tem sido cada vez mais fácil, eu me sinto cada vez mais em casa, principalmente quando é desafiador como é hoje. Bom, com trabalhos técnicos de Hobbs Bianchi, minha doce Hobbs, minha mulher, que cozinha, que faz a porra toda, que chega, acontece, ainda produz essa porra desse programa. Muito obrigado pela sua produção e sua paciência com o que vos falo. A Juliana Amaral, que faz toda a pesquisa, que nos coloca em contato com os maiores detalhes da vida de todos os entrevistados aqui. A Adriana Baldin, a produção, que faz a produção maravilhosa, ela que laça todos os convidados aí, puta, eu nem sei o que eu faria sem ela. O Carlos Fides, o nosso Derek Riggs brasileiro, né, que faz as artes aí de tantas bandas internacionais e nacionais, e o Daniel Mazza, nosso produtor de núcleo, o Wingman, que hoje começou apresentador, bicho, apresentador.
Agora eu sou apresentador de núcleo.
De núcleo, pega o núcleo e apresenta ele. Olha só, deixa, antes de mais nada, já agradecer a Jéssica Mar, do Headbanger News, que ajudou a trazer o Mr. Blaze pra gente, e a Isa Miranda, do programa Sonoridades, que também, sem elas duas, eu não sei, eu acho que essas aqui não teríamos esse programa hoje. Elas fizeram ponte aí com o Blaze, foi muito bom. E o Alcir Chalas, da Woodstock Discos, né, que ajudou a trazer o Mr. Zazula também, que foi, o cara imprescindível, me ajudou a fazer contato com os caras. Galera, apoio da Roadlog, Vans e Transportes, para o seu evento. Muito obrigado ao apoio de todos vocês. E sem mais delongas, vamos começar o programa. Ai, que eu estou nervoso, cara, que essa lenda... essa vai ser foda. Bom, Galera, eu vou falar um pouco em inglês e também em português. Eu vou explicando o que eu estou falando, meio de forma resumida. O meu inglês é aquele inglês brasileiro macarrônico, então dá para vocês entenderem bastante coisa. É bom para vocês estudarem o inglês de vocês, ok?
Isso.
Então vamos lá, Daniel. Você me ajuda também aí, tá? Porque às vezes
Eu não, cara, eu vou traduzir tudo errado.
Fica olhando aí, tipo assim, às vezes finge que se importa, cara. Que bacana,
Não, beleza,
cara.
beleza.
Mas só fingir. Bom, vamos lá então. He's one of the most respected names in the heavy metal industry. Born in New York City, his story begins with the legendary Rock and Roll Heaven record store. Till everything changes when we received a demo tape from a certain underground so-so band called Metallica. Just Metallica. Leading him and his wife Marsha to found the legendary Megaforce Records, home of the bands of the caliber of Metallica, Anthrax, Testament, Merciful Fate, Overkill. You got the picture. Well, of course, I'm talking about the legend, Mr. Jon Zazula. Mr. Johnny, come here. Yay!
How you doing, guys?
Nice,
doing,
man.
my friend?
It's a pleasure to.
Such a pleasure to have you here with us, man. Yeah. You're such a legend. I can't thank you enough. This is a dream come true. I can't thank you enough. Really, it's incredible.
I tell you, I'm very tired from flying all the way to Brazil to see you.
That's awesome.
My arms are very tired, but it's very nice of you and your show to put me up in the finest hotel with the finest food. And
yeah, it's the least we can do, man. This Mr. Johnny Z.
I know my driver, 2 drivers for both cars. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's the least we can do for the legend, Mr. Johnny Z. And you can thank coronavirus for that gives us a help.
Oh, yes.
to create this show. But we'll talk about that later. Let me introduce this other legend to make company to us here. I'm very nervous, man, because I really love you guys. You two are, for me, changed my life, you know. So I have to say, he's one of the most prolific singers from heavy metal world. His profound and powerful voice is one of the most recognizable ones in the entire metal industry. He's very known for his solo albums, of course, but his legacy in Iron Maiden lives forever. Of course, I'm talking about the legend, the man, Mr. Blaze Bayley.
Blaze Bayley.
Tag along, Mr. Bayley.
Hello.
Hello.
Tudo bem?
Yes.
See, we have a Brazilian among us.
We have a Brazilian here.
Caixinha. My
What?
name is Mr. Bacalhau. Thank you. It feels like I'm at home here.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Exactly. You have a story with Brazil, right? We will talk about that later. It's man, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us. It's I can't thank you enough. You guys change a lot of lives, you know, and we'll talk about that. I'm hope, and it's a 1 hour show today, so you can talk a lot. If you guys are having some problems with connection, you just let us know. But until now, everything is okay. Mm-hmm. I'm just listening to Daniel typing something that's pretty annoying, but hey, it's nice. No, just kidding, just kidding. All right, so let's begin. I'm gonna do some Portuguese, some questions. I'm gonna explain everything in Portuguese to the guys, and also after you guys answered, I will also help our friends to understand what you're saying. Also talking a little bit in Portuguese, to translate it a little bit. Okay. So my first question is to Mr. Zazula. Well, you have a recent released book now in 2019, right? Called Heavy Tales, the Metal, the Music, the Madness, as lived by Jon Zazula. Please tell us. tell us a little bit about this book, about what we could expect when when you read it.
Well, basically, it's a book that tells a story that if you believe it, you can make it happen. You know, Blaze and company, you know, we basically had nothing. And we just believed in Metallica. We believed in the very beginning they'd be the biggest band in the world. It's a whole boring story for me to tell it now. Much more exciting in the book. But I must tell you, it's a love story about how a man can work side by side with his wife through thick and thin. You know, we would do shows and come home from shows that would sell out to thousands of people and pay no attention to our own electric bill. So our house electric would be turned off, but everybody would be patting us on the back for having such a great show back at the venue. You
Yeah.
know, so there's
Yes.
millions and millions of stories like that in the book. It just tells the story, sort of like a rag to riches kind of story, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, it's insane. I can't wait to put my hands on it. Do you have some kind of prediction? I mean, do you know when we'll have it here in Brazil translated?
I spoke to a friend of mine, you all may know, Walcia Shalas.
Yes, of course. I
He's
talk about here.
talking to me and talking to some printers. We're hoping that this is something that appears, believe it or not, eh, eh, in Christmas of 2021. It takes a long moment in Brazil, every moment. Just
Yeah, I think
Hello?
I think
Your
I think we had a little glitch. Teve
Yeah.
algum problema aí, Daniel, para você também?
Tá acontecendo aqui.
Okay, but I think we can get we got picture. I will translate a little bit of this for our friends in Brazil here. Bom, galera, eu perguntei para ele sobre o livro dele. Ele escreveu um livro que saiu recentemente no mundo chamado Heavy Tales: The Metal, the Music, the Madness, as lived by Jon Zazula. Você pode ordenar aí na Amazon e afins. Eles estão esperando esse livro para sair aqui no Brasil pro ano que vem. E é um livro que conta a história da vida dele, é uma história de luta, de guerra, né, de vontade de conseguir o que quer por intermédio da garra, e que é um conto de fadas, na verdade, até se você for ver por esse lado, porque ali ele conta também sobre a história profundamente, até da história do Metallica, como foi toda espero que a gente possa falar, inclusive, um pouco disso hoje aqui. Eu estou bem curioso para saber esse outro lado. E ele fala, e tem conta de todas as bandas também, todos da Mega Force, tudo mais gravadora dele. E, por favor, deem uma olhada aí na Amazon, ou aguardem o ano que vem o nosso Valcir Chalas, amigo nosso lá da Woodstock Discos, está o ajudando a trazer esse livro para o Brasil. Well, I'm gonna ask something to our legendary friend, Mr. Bayley. Yeah, the legend, Mr. Bayley. What a great pleasure to have you here again. Thanks again for doing this, to find a spot in your agenda. So, of course, you were very well known for Iron Maiden, of course. But who knows about your work? I want to talk about that a little bit, more about your solo work. Which work of you do you think is your best solo album? The album that really represents Mr. Blaze Bayley, and why?
Well, I'm very lucky. Thank you very much for having me on your show. And I'm very glad to be here. It's a great opportunity to talk to all my fans in Brazil. I miss everybody so much. Normally, I'd be planning to visit Brazil and come on tour in January before Carnival, and I will be missing you all very, very much.
We miss you too.
My solo work really started with Silicon Messiah, and the artwork for Silicon Messiah, which is my first album after Iron Maiden, is actually done by an artist in Brazil.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I was my first wife is from Brazil, and I managed to find a wonderful photographer and an artist, and they did the wonderful cover that I have for the Silicon Messiah album. And many of the songs on there were ideas that I had when I was with Iron Maiden, that I had on my dictaphone and little notes that I made. And afterwards, I had the opportunity to work on those songs myself and make my own album. So it's influenced a lot by Iron Maiden, but it's something I'm very, very proud of. You know, it's 20 something years now. And that Silicon Messiah album really said a lot, because it's science fiction, but also my views on philosophy about technology. And that's what I've started with, and I've kind of stayed with that. And now it's 11 studio albums. And my last project was 3 albums, which was one concept, part of the same story, and that's called Infinite Entanglement, and that is the greatest achievement of my musical career, is those 3 albums in 3 years, one story about a man who seeks redemption for horrific things that he has done. And that's the thing I'm most proud of. And that my last tour of Brazil was to promote that album.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, we'll talk about that, about your tour, because it's we're about to have a tour of you here in Brazil for 2020, almost sold out. We will talk about that later. But I will go back to Mr. Zazula, and I want to ask you about, of course, everybody is dying to talk about this, and we're talking, of course, I'm talking about Metallica. So tell us a little bit about your story with Metallica. To the people that doesn't know you, that people that don't know you, how was to really discover them, all those details, insane details. What a nose you have, man. Wow, to discover Metallica.
Well, you know, the first story is the Metallica story. And the Metallica story will always be the greatest story, because Metallica were basically unknowns, of course, when they got to Marsha and me. And we did probably 18 to 20 shows with them in the Northeast, broke them, and then did a national tour when no one even knew who they were, with a band called Raven from Newcastle, England. These 2 bands slugged it out in America, and we took that unknown band called Metallica, and we ended up selling lots and lots of albums. We started Megaforce Records really because of them, because nobody wanted to sign Metallica. Nobody wanted to know them. Nobody understood them. It was a terrible, terrible, hard adventure we had to go on to try to get them a deal, to the point that we did it ourselves.
Wow.
And what I was saying is, the story of Metallica, of course, went on. They became one of the greatest, not the greatest metal band, if not band on earth. But, you know, Megaforce Records, right off of the rebound of losing Metallica to Electric, came out with Anthrax and Manowar and Raven and Testament and Merciful Fate, and it just went on and on. He's Freely, King's X.
King's X, I love them.
Great band. And Marsha and I were very fortunate because we got to do what we wanted to do, which was sign some of the best bands in the history of the world at a time when it was really necessary to have those years, Of course, we had competition, but every band that we signed pretty much holds up today, and they're all making a living today.
Yes, insane. Wow. Thanks for sharing that with us. I'm going to explain for people in Portuguese also Mr. Bailey's answer. Galera, a resposta do Mr. Bailey, eu perguntei pro Blaze, que todo mundo quer saber de Iron Maiden sempre e tal, eu perguntei para ele sobre a carreira dele solo, né? O que ele acha que representa melhor a carreira dele e tudo mais. Ele disse que o primeiro disco dele, depois da saída dele do Iron Maiden, que é o Silicon Messiah, que é um puta disco, inclusive, ouçam aí, que é bom pra caralho. E ele acha que foi o grande disco que ele estava mais influenciado ali, né, na época pelo Iron Maiden e tal, e que aquilo teve um grande impacto sobre ele, mas que ele acha que realmente o maior gol da carreira dele, o golaço que ele deu na carreira dele, realmente foi os 3 discos que ele lançou, 3 discos em 3 anos, são 3 discos que contam a história de um homem que busca redenção e tudo mais, né? E aí, logo na sequência, eu perguntei aqui pro nosso queridíssimo Mr. Zazula sobre a história dele com o Metallica, né? Como é que foi, né? Como ele descobriu a banda, porque interessante, né? O cara simplesmente descobriu o Metallica, né? Tipo, é uma coisa muito incrível a gente falando aqui agora, mas isso, sei lá quantos anos atrás, você tem que pensar que o cara teve um nariz, né, que eu queria saber se foi uma coisa óbvia, né, realmente, né, se ele realmente era uma coisa para entrar, assim, já, se tava óbvio, e ele disse que não, justamente o contrário, que eles pegaram o Metallica, depois de ouvir a demo, eles assinaram os caras e tal, e eles foram fazer alguns shows, eram uns 18, assim, abrindo o Raven, uma banda da Inglaterra, inclusive, e aí, que ninguém queria assinar o Metallica, cara. É isso. Quando a gente fala isso hoje em dia, parece piada. Mas, o cara teve a visão de sacar uma banda que, né, tava na cara, pelo menos para ele, né? Olha que visão do cara, né? Que era uma banda que mudaria o cenário mundial do metal, e foi exatamente isso que aconteceu. E ele assinou o Metallica porque ninguém queria assinar. E aí, a partir dali, ele criou a Mega Force com a mulher dele, a Marsha, e foi muito importante. Eles assinaram muitas bandas incríveis, como eu falei ali no começo, Merciful Fate, Anthrax, Manowar, muitas bandas que a partir dali o resto é história, né? So I'm gonna get back to you, Mr. Bailey. Of course, we were talking about.
I just wanted to ask Johnny a couple of questions.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you.
Because I've been very, very lucky in my life. I've been able to start my own label with just me on it. That's many, many years after what Johnny did. What Johnny actually did was break down a frontier and do something that nobody else was able to do at the time. And it's the story of independent labels. And because he did that, is probably one of the reasons why I'm able to do what I do now and be completely independent. As an artist, it's my label. I'm the only one on it. I release the records. I don't compromise with anybody. And I just wanted to ask Johnny, when bands sent you demos, did you see them live? And was it you and your wife? Did you go, I like them, and that was the reason? Or did you go, well, people should know about it?
Well, Blaze, it's both. First of all, every band we signed, we saw live. If they didn't do it to us live, we would not sign the band. And if I liked the band and Marsha did not like the band, we did not sign the band. And sometimes when Marsha liked the band, I didn't like a band, and we had to kill each other. That had some of the biggest fights. You know, one of the bands he insisted plays was King's X.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
King's
a Marsha
X.
band. That's a Marsha band.
Another nose trick there, because
and Johnny, what is the biggest band that you didn't sign?
Pantera.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pantera
Yes.
and Rob Zombie was White
Yeah.
Zombie then. And the reason we didn't was because when the whole grunge thing happened, I got tired of putting out the same old metal band all the time. I was always looking for something different, Blaze.
Yeah.
And I was finding weird things. I started getting involved in non-metal, like the lead guitarist of the Allman Brothers. If you know the Allman Brothers in the
Yeah.
States,
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I was working with him. But as a manager, I worked with Ministry.
Oh, fantastic band.
And
Yes,
we sold 5 million records together.
Fantastic. I mean, what a sound. What an individual. Incredible. They were pioneers in their own right. Ministry.
Well, that's
Man,
what
their concerts, insane. The production, wow.
it's fantastic. And we were there when it started with the Psalm 69 album and later on. But we sold, 3 million Psalm 69 worldwide. They sold 200,000 before we started with them, Blaze.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Went to be managers instead of record labels. But I'll tell you something. We had much more fun as a record company. Much more headaches.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was with somebody, I won't say who, that owned a label, and this is going back to my Wolfsbane days, well before Maiden. And we were watching Soundgarden unsigned, and he said to me, what do you think of these? I think they're fantastic. I said, it's like the voice of Led Zeppelin with the guitar of Black Sabbath. It's fantastic. And
Yeah.
I don't like it. And he passed on Soundgarden. And it took a very long, it took a very long time, but they became huge. But the biggest disappointment for me, and I don't know how you feel about this, was that when Nirvana came and the big wave of grunge came, they separated themselves from heavy metal.
Yeah.
Instead of being, here we are, we stand on the shoulders of the giants of metal. We're on that narrow path of big chords and electric guitar. They didn't do that. They said, we're nothing to do with those old guys, with those old bands. And for me, that was the biggest disappointment about grunge. And it kind of put us in a heavy metal wilderness for many, many years, while there are still people that loved this music, but they would say, oh, well, you're not fashionable. What you're doing is out of it. So that was a very disappointing time, I think, grunge, and what they did. Where they made some great music, those guys, some great music, but the fact that they said we're not heavy metal was well, you're using every single cliche from heavy metal in a different way. How are you saying that you don't come from here?
Good story for you guys. Kurt Cobain was in my area of New Jersey playing with his brand new band Nirvana. They were playing little clubs and they wanted to come see Megaforce. They were so interested in our label, and they came by the office, and guess who wasn't there?
You're kidding,
Did you
right?
see them live before they were signed?
Yeah.
I got to see them, believe it or not, at the Brixton Academy in London.
Yeah. Oh, great venue. Great
I saw them there. They played the night after King's X, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we had Anthrax playing at the Hammersmith Odeon.
So, same weekend.
We had it all crazy.
Wow.
You know how London
That's
gets.
huge. That's so
what a great
enormous.
time.
Fantastic days they were.
So we went after Anthrax to the Brixton, and I got to see Nirvana, who, by the way, I didn't care for one bit.
Yeah.
I was not a big fan.
You were financially you were wrong, but musically you're kind of right.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, financially, I never cared about money. You know, that's one thing.
That's true. Cool.
I always was crazy and just spent it. I don't know what to do with money, guys.
I wanted to ask you another question, Johnny, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Perfect. Awesome.
I met
Thank
the
you.
guys from Metallica a couple of times. Lovely guys, but I never met Cliff Burton.
Oh.
And I wondered, what sort of person was he? I always wanted to talk to him because I felt, his influence was so huge, and it was obviously a bitter blow when he went.
Yeah.
Well,
Great question.
He was a wonderful guy, a sweetheart of a guy. He was not like the other guys in the band, by the way.
I always got that feeling. Always.
He had bell bottoms and his denim jacket, and they were drinkers, and he would drink, but he would also,
pothead.
And me too. So
It's
I got along very, very good with him. In fact, I saw him the day before he died. I was with him with Marsha on Carnaby Street. Again, Anthrax just played, opening up for Metallica.
Yeah, I saw that tour.
We had that show and said goodbye. The next day, he was buying a ring, some really good ring at a jewelry store called the Bullfrog.
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah.
Is it still there, do you think?
I don't think so, no. I think it might have moved now to Camden.
Really? Well, everybody went there. Lemmy went there for his jewelry, Cool place. And we smoked a joint on the side of the street. And went his way, I went my way. We went to San Francisco to see Testament live.
Nice.
It was their audition for Megaforce. So we flew from London to San Francisco, left Anthrax with Metallica. And that's when my partner called me at 3:00 in the morning in San Francisco that Cliff had passed away.
Mm.
Oh my God.
But in the book, I tell the story how when all the bands lived in my house, Blaze, it was Cliff used to be worried about my daughter Ricky and that she couldn't sleep with all the noise because I had Metallica, Raven, Anvil, all staying at this one little house in New Jersey.
Oh my God.
Little house. And he would
It's like...
he'd read bedtime stories to her.
Wow.
He'd read her to sleep.
Great guy then.
How many people could say that?
Yeah, it's an amazing story. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you for sharing that, Johnny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Sorry for dominating, but I wanted to give you a good answer, Blaze. I
Yeah,
don't.
no, that's great, man. That's what I wanted to know. You know,
Insane.
so few
Insane.
people that you can ask that question to.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I'm gonna try to translate this a little bit to the guys here in Brazil. Ô,
Go
Daniel,
ahead.
você me ajuda aqui um pouquinho?
Beleza.
Bom, primeiro a gente estava falando, o Blaze perguntou para ele, porque o Blaze ele abriu uma gravadora, que ele é o único artista dele na gravadora, e ele estava perguntando como era, o que ele acha, né, disso e como era trabalhar uma gravadora, qual o truque, né, o segredo e tal, pro Johnny, e ele estava contando, e aí o Johnny respondeu que o grande lance é você assistir bandas ao vivo, as bandas ao vivo, antes de eu não só ouvir a demo, mas ir assistir a banda para sacar qual é o grande lance da banda ao vivo, que esse é o grande segredo. E aí o Blaze perguntou também, estava falando sobre a parte da época do grunge, né? Que o grunge ele fez uma observação de que o grunge ele era ele perguntou que banda que ele não assinou, que ele não pegou, que ele poderia ter pego, e ele falou Pantera. É meio emocionante. E a banda que ele pegou, que ele se orgulha, ele falou do Ministry, que é uma banda que com eles venderam 5 milhões de álbuns e tal, e antes deles tinham vendido apenas 200 mil. E falou também do Soundgarden, e o Blaze tá falando que tava falando que o grunge, né, que o Soundgarden, ele não quis comentar quem era o dono da gravadora, mas que já teve um cara que trabalhou com o Blaze, que não quis pegar o Soundgarden, que achava a voz que parecia a voz do Led Zeppelin com a guitarra do Black Sabbath. Isso não fazia muito sentido para ele, e passou a banda e se transformou pura e simplesmente no Soundgarden mais tarde, né? E depois o Blaze perguntou também pro Johnny como era o nosso digníssimo o baixista do Metallica que morreu, né, em 86, o Cliff Burton, e como ele era, e o Johnny estava dizendo que ele era um sweetheart, que era uma pessoa muito do bem, que eles se davam muito bem porque eles fumavam junto também, né, e que ele lia histórias de dormir para a filha dele, para a filha do Johnny, enquanto estava todo mundo hospedado na casa dele, Anthrax, Metallica, Raven, um monte de banda, o pau comendo lá, e o cara lendo histórias de dormir para a filha dele, que ele se preocupava. Então, assim, galera, só eu tô emocionado, sinceramente, porque é meio emocionante o que tá rolando aqui. Espero que vocês estejam conseguindo captar mais os detalhes e tal, não dá para traduzir tudo. Well, Mr. Bayley, now it's your time. Now it's your time to share with us a little bit about stories about another huge band, Iron Maiden. So please share with us some Maiden story, your Maiden story.
My first trip to Brazil was with Iron Maiden. So I played quite a few shows with Maiden.
I was there.
Yeah, but the very first show was 70,000 people in Sao Paulo, and it's amazing, but also it's probably one of the most scary moments in my life.
Why?
I played
Brazil,
hundreds of shows before then with my band Wolfsbane, and I played quite a few shows across Europe with Maiden, but coming to Brazil and playing that show, it was the biggest show I ever performed at, and I was nervous, man. I was so scared. And what I remember is all of the Brazilian fans, me as a new guy in the band, all the Brazilian fans gave me a real chance, and they listened to me, and they wished me well, and they gave me a lot of support as the new guy in the band. And I'll never forget that. And so in my heart, there is a very special place for Brazil. That was the Monsters of Rock tour in Brazil. We did huge concerts, and it was just a fantastic experience. And yeah, since that time, Brazil has always had a very special place in my heart.
Oh, wow.
Insane. Thanks for that. But tell us a little bit, how was your experience with Maiden? The way you entered,
Wonderful.
what did you feel?
Wonderful. I mean, I'm so lucky. This is the problem that other people have with me, is I'm incredibly lucky. And I was in Wolfsbane, and I supported Maiden and in the UK. And on that tour, Johnny, I did 33 sold-out shows as a support band of Iron Maiden in the UK. And I said to Steve Harris, can we continue into Europe? And he said, no, Anthrax are supporting us in Europe. It was a no prayer for the dying.
No prayer for the dying, right? Yeah, I remember that.
So, and I was just very lucky. I'd given them a CD, and I got on very well with the guys in Maiden, particularly Steve. And when they were looking for the new singer, I was able to get an audition. You know, it was something like 1,500 singers from around the world applied for that job. And I know a lot of them were much better than me. But I think because my voice was very different to Bruce's voice, I think at that time, that's what they wanted. They wanted that change, because X Factor is start of the progressive era of Maiden. And it's a different sound, it's a different approach. Every other album opened with a fast song. X Factor opens with Sign of the Cross. Huge, huge, moody, melancholy darkness. And that set the tone, really. I was very, very surprised that they offered me the job as the new singer. Obviously, over the moon, but I'm so different to Bruce. And really, with Maiden in the studio, working closely with Steve on the writing and recording with Steve as the producer, I found another part of my voice that I didn't even know about. And Steve managed to catch that and record it. And that is the sound of Blaze Bayley. That's the sound I have now. Where before I had this, now I have this. And I'm able to find tones and find texture in my voice that I never could before. So I really feel like I found my voice in Iron Maiden, and after Maiden, I've been building on that, and I'm able now to take that idea from my head and make it into the song on the album, and get that lyric and interpret that lyric and make it come to life and touch people. So I think what I learned in Iron Maiden is to enter the body through the ears, go down, get the heart, rip it out through the ears, rub it, put it back in, and then people have a metal heart and feel good.
Insane.
Could I ask a question? Yes,
Johnny, you were about to say something.
Yes, Blaze. If I right now wanted to know, like, what was the definitive Blaze Bayley song that I should, like, right after this, go get on Spotify and listen to, is it there? So I can listen.
Yeah, I'm all across. I'm on all the formats. So if you go to Spotify and you get a song called Eating Lies, which is from my trilogy. It's also on YouTube, and it's from the Endure and Survive album, which is part 2 of my trilogy. If you find a song called
Nice.
Eating Lies,
18 lines. All right.
yeah,
Okay.
or then that pretty much shows who I am as a singer.
I can't.
It has all of the emotion and the power. And if you look, really, my biggest things from Maiden are Man on the Edge.
Yeah, love that song.
Future Real, then Sign of the Cross, and the Klansman.
Sign of the Cross is the best. Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that.
and Bruce Dickinson, they do that on the tour now, and Bruce does an amazing version of Sign of the Cross and the Klansman. He's incredible, an incredible singer. So, but yes, Johnny, I'm on Spotify. I'm all over Spotify.
Great. Can't
Blaze,
wait.
Blaze,
Can't wait.
sorry. And you still used to talk to the guys nowadays?
Yeah. I spoke to Steve a couple of weeks ago, just seeing how he's doing. Talking about.
Is there a chance of a reunion or something?
What?
Is there a chance of a reunion? Maybe a special appearance featuring?
I don't think so. For me, I would love it. I would love to do a nostalgic reunion where you have Paul Di'Anno, me, and Bruce, and we each sing a couple of songs from our own era, and then the three of us at the end close the show. I think fans would love it, but I don't think that Iron Maiden will do that until they're desperate for money. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Oh yeah. Well,
but I would love it. I would love. I'm totally open. I don't know if Paul would be, but I'm totally open to that, man. They're great guys. They treated me very, very well after I left. So yeah, I would love to do that kind of reunion.
Well, never hurt to dream, right? For me, you were one of my great influences. For me, it would be fantastic, and I'm sure here in Brazil, people will love to also. I'm gonna sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
Mr. Bayley, we have a lot of Noturnall fans here on the YouTube asking for a participation of Blaze Bayley in Noturnall. They up in Blaze Fit Noturnall here.
Yeah, we'll be saying. Yeah. Please,
can you see hashtag Blaze Fit Noturnall?
Don't play with my heart. It would be insane to have you singing one of our songs. I think I could die later. Yeah, but this conversation will continue later. All right, I'm gonna translate a little bit of this to our Brazilian audience here.
Okay.
Bom, galera, eu tava perguntando para ele como foi, pedir para ele contar um pouco de experiências legais do Iron Maiden, né? E ele estava falando que uma coisa que ele lembra muito foi dos shows que ele fez aqui no Brasil, que foi um no Monsters of Rock, que foi lá no Pacaembu, não sei se quem tava aí, que tá aí, porque a galera muito nova talvez não se lembre. Foi um puta show, eu chorei rios naquele show. Fear of the Dark, Sign of the Cross, tipo, umas músicas que foram emocionantes mesmo. E também depois, acho que um outro show que ele disse que ele foi muito bem recebido, que ele estava muito impressionado como as pessoas realmente o respeitaram e realmente deram chance para ele de ouvi-lo, ouvir a voz dele, e o receberam de braços abertos. Isso com certeza foi uma coisa que o fez ter um carinho muito grande pelo Brasil. Diz que veio depois, em outras vezes, eu acho que foi no Parque Antártica, né? Eu também estava nesse show, foi bem emocionante, foi com ele também, e que foi também animal, mas ele disse que esse dia foi muito emocionante. E também eu perguntei para ele se ele fala com os caras. Ele disse que fala, que tudo bem e tal, e perguntei se existiria a chance, né, de um dia eles fazerem alguma coisa juntos, e ele disse que estaria totalmente aberto para isso, de coração aberto, que seria muito legal, uma ideia que eu achei, sinceramente, bem Iron Maiden mesmo, essa ideia, que seria os caras se juntarem com o Paul Di'Anno, ou Paul Diano, cada um fala de um jeito, e o Blaze e o Bruce, eles cantarem um pouquinho de cada parte, da parte deles, né? Da época deles, que seria bem emocionante.
Uhum.
Aí, o Mr. Johnny perguntou para ele...
What was that?
Very, very well translated. I love you, Brazil, in Portuguese. Thank you, man. Everybody loves you there here also. Well, e aí ele perguntou, o Mr. Johnny perguntou se ele quisesse ouvir uma música que impactasse, que fizesse resumisse quem ele é, para ouvir assim de cara. Ele falou que tem uma música chamada Eating Lies, que é da trilogia, do segundo disco da trilogia dele, que é uma música que resolveria, que, como você falou, Dan, resumiria exatamente quem ele é cantando e tudo mais. Bom, well, I'm gonna ask you both. This is where here's a part that both of your life stories intersects. You both had severe depression. Is that right? Can
Not
I?
right now. No.
But head, right? Head. Yeah.
Not
Hope
at this
not.
moment.
No. Yeah. Hope not right now. But back in the day, Mr. Johnny, can you begin this subject?
Well, I have terrible depression. Still today,
Mhm.
I find it very hard to describe, but living is not as easy as it seems. One of the things that kept me going all the years of Megaforce
Mhm.
was basically the fact that I worked my ass off, and by working, I didn't think about being depressed, and all that energy from that would be spent on being depressed was spent on producing things, music. But now, watch out, everybody! It's getting dangerous again. How's that, Blaze? Is that how to describe it?
No, yeah, I'm just trying to do another thing here. This is the problem, you know, when they've equipped the hotel rooms, as you said, so well. You know, you can do a lot. But yeah, I suffer with depression, absolutely, and it's something that is debilitating, especially. I mean, it's horrible for anybody. But when you work for yourself and you're trying to do things for yourself, those days where nothing seems worthwhile, they're very difficult days to get through. And for me, I didn't even know that I suffered from depression until my first wife took me to the doctor. She said, something's not right. You have to go to the doctor. And I described how I was feeling. And he said, that's depression. He said, how long have you felt like that? I said, my whole adult life.
Wow.
And I was in my 30s at that time. And
So
I was able to start taking medication. I was able to look up what depression was. It was not what I thought I felt normal, but no. That's not how normal people are. They don't go through most days feeling bad and like they're battling through the day. Most people get up and look forward to the day most of the time, unless they're in a really shit situation. And so once I could put a handle on that, find out what depression was, start researching about brain chemistry and things like these, and take the medication, I was much better off. But it's not a thing that goes away. And I think Johnny will probably agree with me on this. People say, snap out of it. Well, do you really think that I would choose to feel like this? That I would choose this feeling over the feeling that says, right, come on, guys, let's go. Why would you choose depression? You don't. it's not a choice. It's a brain chemistry. You can take medication. You can do a lot of small things from diet and exercise and just drinking enough water and a lot of small things to help you. But in the end, for me, it's like looking over a cliff. And I know the edge is there. And I can see that edge now that I couldn't before. And now I look, right, okay, there's a couple of things I can do to stay away from the edge. But occasionally, I just fall over the edge and bang, there I am on the ground, looking up and feeling I don't want to carry on. And that's what depression is. It's not something you choose, but it is something you can choose to fight when you know what it is. And in many of my lyrics, I talk about suicidal tendencies, about my own battles with the darkness, about trying to have a dialogue within me that I can say, come on, keep going. One more step, one more step, one more. Just get up, just get up. Just get up, face the darkness, face it, just stand there. The storm will pass. And that's a thing I think that many of us try to do. The sadness of it is, especially for many young people, they don't have that life experience of surviving those dark moments. And unfortunately, it takes away many young people and their lives. They lose their lives to
They kill
depression.
themselves.
Yeah, they lose their life. They don't know that there is a choice and there is a way out. So I never hide away from the fact that I suffer with depression, and I do talk about it in my work and in the things that I do. And on the album that I'm working on right now, there are many parts of that album where I talk about this internal dialogue of trying to win over, battle with the darkness. And it's been a difficult thing. When I was in Iron Maiden, I didn't know I suffered from depression. I just battled on. And if I'd have known that, I would have, had a much, much better time.
Wow.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, man.
That's a
It's,
lot.
That's a lot.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. And that's what he said, is that it's always there. It's like
It's
a cloud.
It's not a cure, is it? There's no cure. You can fight it, but you can't cure it.
No, you walk around with like a little cloud.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's very strange. But you know what? I think some of the most creative people I ever met, Blaze.
Yeah.
Thiago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know where you're going.
All creative people are depressives.
Yeah.
A lot of
separated.
people.
Manic depressives.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody who I know, I won't say his name, prolific songwriter, and we were on tour together for a little while. And one of the things that we would say to each other is, don't think too much.
No.
Don't think too much. Just do something. Occupy your time. Don't think too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's depression stuff.
I rug you, Brazil. Thank you, man. Man, thanks for sharing that. That's really deep. And I'm going to translate a little bit of that to our audience. Bom, galera, a gente tocou num assunto bem delicado, que é a depressão, que ambos, Mr. Johnny e o Blaze, tiveram depressão, né? Sofrem de depressão. E eles estavam contando um pouco de como é. E basicamente ambos disseram um pouco da mesma coisa, que é você não ficar suscetível à depressão, você combatê-la, você lutar contra ela, e sempre um passo de cada vez, e ocupar a sua mente sempre ocupar a sua vida fazendo coisas que te deixam feliz, isso é muito importante sempre. E basicamente é você fazer o que você ama e continuar servil, continuar esperto, continuar útil, e fazendo coisas legais, que a depressão ela vai estar sempre lá. E o Johnny, ele adicionou ainda que as maiores mentes com que ele trabalhou e que ele admira são pessoas que são depressivas e maníacas depressivas, na verdade.
Sim.
Yeah, so Mr. Zazula, let's change subjects a little bit, clear the air.
Yeah.
We're almost
Typing going on or something? Is that you, Danielle?
what?
Sorry?
Like a typing sound, like a tick 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 tick.
Yeah,
Some kind
a
of
little.
crackly thing.
No one is.
Oh, okay. So go ahead. Hello.
Yeah, no, sometimes it's there and it stops. I got the same thing. I thought it was Daniel in the beginning of the show.
No, it's not me.
Yeah,
I'm here.
you're typing with your dick then, because
I thought maybe he was
Yes,
eating
right.
Cocoa Puffs.
That's right.
I think
Absolutely.
it's just a signal, a problem of the internet and stuff. Well, Mr.
Yeah.
Zazula, I have a question for you, and I think a lot of people has also. It was you that chose the track "The Ecstasy of Gold," right, from the movie "The Good, the Bad, the Ugly," from
Yes.
the late great Ennio Morricone. Is that really true? And I mean, they still use it, and you still talk to them. They know that was you. They talk about that.
They always kid me about that.
Mm.
They always joke with me about that when they see me.
Oh yeah.
I go, you're not, and they, yes, we do.
You still using?
I remember when we sat in my living room, and I said to them, "You're not going to believe this guy. I think you should come out to this." And we listened to it, and then we edited it, because you don't get a whole thing. You edited version of it, because it goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But shows where it gets to the top fast. And I've been a lover of Ennio Morricone for many years. You know, since I'm a young boy going to the Italian way. You know, I've been a big fan of Morricone. So it was very normal for this to happen. I didn't know that they were going to keep it, make it their theme for 40 years, you know.
Wow, yeah. Still using. It's incredible.
Yes.
It's talk about nose again, huh? You're the guy with the nose. Almost a wolf.
Well, you know, that's been my blessing.
Yeah,
That's
insane.
been my blessing. I don't have much, but I have years. You know,
And you still talk to the guys from Metallica?
Metallica, we don't talk to each other like we're best friends, hang out, you know, but we know what each other's doing. And if we want to reach each other, we could do it, anybody at any time. When they come into the area, they make it their business. So we're there and we see them. It's about as far as it goes. You know, at this point, I really have not much in my life that has to do with hanging out with Metallica. You know, I only have a few friends that remain my close friends that are in the business today. I remain friends with all the bands, but only a few people are my real close friends.
Yeah. Well, nice. I hope you guys get together again real soon. Talk about the old days. Okay, Mr. Bayley. So your solo career are doing pretty good, right? I heard your last tour was supposed to happen here in 2020. Was completely sold out. Congrats for that. So tell us a little bit of what to expect in your next tour. I hope pretty soon.
Well, I hope there is a next tour. That's the thing. It's a very weird time for all of us now. not just in music, but entertainment as a whole. So it's just a very weird time. And
sadly.
my tour was the tour that I was going to do was my anniversary tour, 25 years since I joined Iron Maiden, with a set list full of my old Maiden songs with special new arrangements with my band. And I was very excited about that. But it just, I wanted to do that. So I think what we have to do now is just be grateful for what we have. And for me, I have to say thank you from my heart to all of my fans in Brazil that follow me, that send messages to me on social media. I'm very, very lucky. I'm tiny, a very small artist, but I am completely independent. And that means I'm supported 100% by my fans that buy my records, concert tickets, that go to my shop. Those are the people that make it possible for me to live my dream. And I am so grateful for that. So, muito, muito obrigado, Brazil.
Nice.
That's insane. Thanks a lot for sharing that. I'm going to translate real quick. Bom, eu perguntei para o Jon Zazula, galera, se ele que deu a ideia, aquela introdução que vocês ouvem no show do Metallica. Essa música se chama The Ecstasy of Gold e é do filme Três Homens em Conflito, que chama, né? E lá se chama The Good, The Bad and The Ugly, e que foi escrita pelo Ennio Morricone. Esse cara morreu recentemente agora, infelizmente, em 2019. E quem deu a ideia dessa introdução, que eles usam até hoje, vão aí, sei lá quantos anos, acho que 30 e tantos anos, quem deu essa ideia da introdução foi o Johnny. E eu queria saber se a história era verdade, que eu tinha ouvido falar, e realmente foi ele, sim, que ele que deu a ideia, que eles estavam escolhendo algumas outras músicas, e ele escolheu inclusive uma outra música desse mesmo escritor, mas eles acabaram indo com essa música. E eu perguntei se eles se falam, se eles ainda se falam. Ele falou que não, infelizmente não, mas que eles até brincaram, que eles se encontraram outro dia e o James falou para ele que ainda estamos usando a sua ideia, tipo, aquela ideiazinha. Yeah. We love you too, man. Então ele estava contando que eles não se falam muito, que ele ainda não, infelizmente ele não fala mais com a maioria das pessoas que ele trabalhou lá atrás, mas que ele ainda fala que o pouco que ele fala sempre é muito legal. Bom, e o Blaze estava contando que a carreira dele está indo super bem, que a última turnê que ele ia fazer aqui no Brasil já estava toda sold out, agora em 2020, e que ele ama os fãs brasileiros, como vocês podem ver aí. Então, que a gente está vivendo, infelizmente, tempos horrorosos e estranhos, mas que as coisas devem passar, que a gente deve valorizar quem está do nosso lado e tudo mais, e que ele é um artista independente, que tudo que ele faz depende muito dos fãs, e ele ama muito os fãs por isso, porque ele só tem uma carreira graças a esses fãs. So, the last question for you guys, we have to... first of all, thank you both for this. It was tremendous. I can't thank you enough. But we always close our show. We have some guys from a band called Clash Bulldogs here from Brazil that they follow us with the show since its beginning, and they always send amazing questions, and one best for the another. So we decided to maintain the guys and make a block of the concert of the show, just giving them the question. So it calls Clash Bulldogs asks. So they have 2 questions, once to each.
Okay, I think
Daniel.
I think I know one of the questions.
Oh yeah.
Is one of the questions, what do you fear but you can also eat? Is that one of the questions?
I don't.
No,
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Daniel?
Sorry.
Because
First question for Mr. Zazula. They are
Can't
asking.
answer that. I can't answer that, Blaze.
Bananas, because you can eat it, but also you can slide on it if you tread on it, fall and break your neck and possibly die. And that,
bananas.
that can happen. So I have a fear of walking on but it's never happened, but I have a fear of walking on stage and treading on a banana. A very, very unlikely thing to happen, but also I do enjoy eating bananas.
Yeah.
It's a dilemma.
I find
Mr.
that
Blaze.
appealing.
Oh my God.
I found that appealing. If you, huh?
God.
All right,
God.
Daniel, go ahead. That
Okay.
was insane.
First question for Mr. Zazula. They're asking, what are the fundamental elements that you see on the bands that are becoming bigger?
The food elements.
No, the fundamental.
The food elements.
The fundamental elements.
Yeah, fundamental elements.
I always say one thing.
Mm.
Do not do anything cliche.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's so hard, Johnny. It's so hard. And
No, it's what makes it all fun.
Yeah.
Not doing cliche things, doing things out of the box. It is so hard, but let me tell you, that's what distinguishes band A from band B sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I think what strikes me is that, just using Metallica as the example, that the band that tries to be like Metallica won't be successful.
Right.
In my opinion. But if you get 5 guys in a room and they like different types of music, and one of them really loves Metallica, but the other guys like all different kinds of music, and they all put that influence into that band, that's when magic happens. So it doesn't matter about being like, you may be influenced by Iron Maiden or Metallica, but really it's about the people getting along with the influences that they have and not caring too much about what people think. And
right.
For me, I get a lot of messages from bands that say, please tell me what you think of this. And my answer may sound horrible, but I say, why? I'm not going to ask anybody what they think of my music. Why are you asking me what I do? What you feel. If you feel it's good, if it's from the heart, if you feel it's good, it's probably good. But if you feel, oh, somebody's got to like it, don't try and get everybody to like what you do. It should be enough that you, in the band, you all like it. You're convinced it's good. And if other people don't think it's good, that's their problem, not yours. Well, you've done something original and probably interesting. And I think you'll find this with a lot of bands who haven't worked with a producer and are very, very raw. They have so many interesting ideas that you don't hear. And I think that's one of the things about the very early Metallica. You can hear the influences, but it all goes in a very different mashup of things that you couldn't hear from anybody else. And that's the chemistry of the band. And for me, that's what's important. I'm sure you've seen that, Johnny, through the years. The chemistry between people is what really differentiates the bands.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
John Lennon,
Yeah,
Paul McCartney. It's all about those teams. It's all about those teams. I saw them in every band. Scott Ian and Charlie Banana, you know, in Anthrax. Eric and Chuck Billy
Yeah.
in Testament. You know, all these teams that make it special, you know. And we all know about people like Dave Navarre and and,
Yeah.
and all those guys, you know. But yes, back to the original. If you could stay true to yourself, as Blake said, and don't do what's expected of you. Always give the people a right hook when they're looking for a left hook, you know. And
Nice.
that's basically it.
Insane.
The word-
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, thank you. Thank you for great answer. You both.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, you have another question to Mr. Blaze,
Yeah,
so we can wrap this up?
Yeah, we have another question to Mr. Blaze. And the
is it
song
about shoes?
Is about banana again or not?
no, it's about the song.
Shoes. It's very, very difficult to choose footwear for the stage because
Yeah.
it's a constant
Especially if
dilemma.
there's
Right,
bananas on it.
What's going to look good and impressive, and what is actually comfortable during the gig.
Yeah.
So that's a difficult one-man shoes, and there's many songs about shoes in music.
Yes.
Like?
That,
Die with your boots on.
yeah,
Blue
nice
suede
one.
shoes.
Yeah.
The red shoes. A lot of different songs about shoes. So it's not. Is it a question about shoes?
No, it's not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
Maybe
tell
next
us.
Okay, the song "Sing of a Cross" is one of the most iconic songs of the Blaze era. The song was also performed live with Bruce Dickinson on vocals. And the question is, how was the creation and recording process of this song?
Well, it was wonderful, but it was also an ordeal because the song is, I think, nearly 9 minutes, and we all learned the various parts, but nobody could get through the whole thing. So we had to record it in 3 pieces. So, somebody would, if the 5 of us were there doing the guide tracks, somebody would mess up at one point and we'd have to start again because that was the nature of what we were doing. So we had to do the 3 parts distinct and separately. So we never actually heard the finished Sign of the Cross until, well, I didn't hear it until I got the album and it was mixed. That was the
It was
first time I
Martin
heard the
Birch,
song
right? Martin
from
Birch?
the beginning to the end. But it's a fantastic song. I mean, it's so emotional and powerful. It's an incredible song, and it's incredible and wonderful. And I feel very privileged to have been a part of the recording of that song.
Nice.
Man, thanks a lot.
Mr. Blaze, I have one question about shoes for you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, if you
wow, Daniel.
Well, if you could choose one shoes to use for the rest of your life, which one?
Well, I think it's the shoes I have now because they're very hard wearing. They're anti-slip, which is very important because of my fears over the bananas. And yeah, it's the ones that I have now. I've got special shoes for hiking and walking with special grip on there. So yeah, but what happens is, for me, I have one pair of shoes and that has to last for a whole tour, on the stage and off that one pair of shoes. And on the last tour of Brazil, I bought these new shoes, these walking, hiking shoes. I thought, great, these are going to be great. All I do is walk across airports and on the stage. These will be really comfortable. And the shoes wore out. So I got back from Brazil and I went to the shop and I said, look, hey, I've been in Brazil for 1 month. All I've done is walk across airports, and these shoes that are supposed to survive on mountains have fallen to pieces. And,
this is a Brazilian product right there.
No, it wasn't Brazil. It was from another country completely. And so they gave me new shoes. And the shoes I have now, I'm not being paid for this, are Peter Storm shoes. And they've lasted very well. I've done a concert in them. I've walked across an airport and up a mountain, and they're completely intact. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Insane. Man, with this unusual answer, we'll wrap this up. Hey, first of all, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It was like insane to have you legends here with us. I can't thank you enough. Mr. Johnny Zazula, thank you for sharing your stories with us. I hope we can get together pretty soon, maybe in the future. I will call you pretty soon. I won't let you go so easily.
Every day.
Yeah. And Mr. Blaze, thank you for your spare a part of your time to be here with us. You are truly an inspiration for me and for many, many other singers around the world, for sure.
Well,
and
thank you for having me on the show. Thanks, guys. And it's
thanks
lovely
a lot.
to virtually meet you, Johnny, as well.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
It's lovely to meet you, Johnny.
Pleasure.
Great.
Yeah, for sure. We will be together pretty soon in person. Okay, I'm gonna say thanks for our audience in Portuguese. Thanks again. We'll talk later pretty soon, okay?
Take care,
galera.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Galera, muito obrigado pela audiência de vocês. Foi um prazer gigante estar aqui. Hoje foi realmente um sonho. Eu estou assim realizado de falar com essas lendas. Obrigado novamente a Kiss FM por nos colocar no controle desse Boeing aqui durante 1h30, 2 horas aí toda semana. Obrigado por acompanhar. Semana que vem o programa também está incrível. Eu só tenho a agradecer ao Cosmos e essa galera que trabalha com a gente fortemente aí. Semana que vem teremos ninguém menos que Ney Matogrosso, cara. Só isso que eu tenho a dizer para você. Pô, o que eu posso dizer? Ney Matogrosso, a lenda viva, o divo da voz, e o poeta dos guardanapos do programa da Fátima Bernardes, o jornalista Fabrício Carpinejar, também grande lenda aí já da internet e poeta, né? Tenho certeza que a gente vai ter uma conversa muito agradável aqui. Muito obrigado a todos vocês e a gente se vê logo mais. Daniel, beijo no coração.
Um beijo.
Um beijo.